Exospecies is a major part of the awakening of humanity. And so what do I mean by exospecies? So exospecies is a very broad term for for beings, intelligent beings that are not human. Okay. So exospecies could include extraterrestrials, what we call ETs, aliens. It can be like the spiritual beings that have been coming and counseling different wisdom keepers over the ages. So it could mean like the Palladian collectives. It could mean councils of beings. It could mean the Galactic Federation. It could mean, and the Galactic Federation is not one race, guys. It's like hundreds of beings that are on the Galactic Federation. It could be, Syrians. It could be beings, consciousness from the different planets of our particular solar ring. It could be interdimensional beings from inner earth. It can be fae beings such as gnomes and fairies and trolls and pixies and all this stuff. And I know this all sounds really fantastical, but they really are a consciousness that are communicating with humanity. And the reason why these things sound so outlandish and fantastical is because our capacity to communicate with these beings at ease and at will has been shut down over many, many, many generations of training. So mystical beings, such as the Siddhus of India, the different Sifus, grandmasters of the mountains of Tibet and China, the Lamas, we call them the Kurakuyaks in South America. I mean, the mystical beings of this planet have been in communication interdimensionally for many thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So it's not a new idea at all. It's just something that's disconnected from the average human because it's, we think it's imaginary. We're taught that it's not realistic. And when it comes to walking like a regular conditioned human in reality, it is very unrealistic to have communications with interdimensional beings or ETs or Fae or Sasquatch. I mean, it's absolutely outlandish, the idea of these things. But once we start waking up to our capacity as multidimensional beings, it becomes just a matter of fact of life. We can have communications with nature. We can have communications with the spirit of things, right? You guys can imagine, you can have communication with the spirit of the lake, the lady of the lake. You can have communication with the spirits of the forest, tree spirits, flower spirits, plant medicine spirits, so there's lots of life all around us that we as multidimensional humans have access to communicating. Mountains, very potent beings to communicate with. There's entire mystical traditions based on the relationship with mountain spirits, so this is something that's becoming more and more common as Okay, we're back. I don't know what just happened, but it just started spinning, but we're back. Okay, so my eyes were closed, so I don't know where that got caught off at. So let me go back to, entire mystical traditions based on the communication and relationship with mountain spirits and nature spirits. Okay, so in our particular academy, we have been peeling away blind spots with each other for years. Years and years we've been together, and with new people come in, of course, and some of them stick around, some of them are just here for little stints. But in general, we have a very, very strong connected community because of the experiences we've had together. We go to these mystical places and we have experiences with stargates. We have experiences with giant mountain beings, swan beings, elemental beings, And when you have communications and experiences like this with other humans, it really it really helps forge a strong connection. And this strong connection is forged because of a few factors. One, you guys are having mystical experiences together, of course, right? But the other is that there are certain facets of character that need to be in place in order for people to have these mystical experiences in a healthy way. Okay, so when we have communications with celestial beings that present as giant swan beings, this is something that happened many years ago. We were on our way back from a Stargate, and there was these massive swan beings that were dwarfing the mountains that we were driving towards. And this is the Sangre de Cristos mountains that we were in, and these are the highest mountains in the highest mountain range in the contiguous United States. All of them are what we call in Colorado 14ers, which means they're all taller than the elevation of 14,000 feet. And these swan beings just dwarfed the mountains. And of course, the place where we're at was hyperdimensional, and there's lots of energy vortexes and interdimensional doorways and stuff like that. And we end up going to this place, we call them the huts. And these are ancient huts. They predate all other indigenous cultures of the area. They're ancient stargates in their own right. Some of them are direct portals to Pleiadian frequencies. Some are direct portals into the underworlds with the ant people. Some of them are portals that go other places, right? So we go to the huts, and after we see these swan people, we go into the huts, and we end up having this beautiful connection with the ancient grandmothers and the beings of Siddhus. And of course, and the reason why I'm mentioning this is because when you have a community of people who are having these experiences over and over again, there's certain facets within our character that need to be in place. And this is where it's important to be in relationship with other humans. And that is because you learn how to be transparent in your character. You learn how to be authentic in who you are. You learn, because we have all this bombardment on the outside that feeds us all this information and validates all these things that are validating things that are not the truth of who we are. This is why humanity is so confused. So when we are in community with people who are committed to truth, to transparency, to authenticity, right? We help each other in a big way to cultivate those connections inside of ourselves. So that in that way, having a community of people to connect with and have communication with in that way, it enhances our capacity to be authentic within ourselves and to live according to our own authentic truth. And this is where synchronicity starts to become a way of life. This is where interdimensional beings from all sorts of spectrums of reality can start to come into our awareness, and we can start building relationships. So it's right now in the stage of where humanity is, it's like we're kind of like the outliers. Like what we do seems very unusual and out there to the average human, but really what we're doing, according to the different elders and immortal masters that I've been worked with in this life and who have taught me and trained me, is that this is what the actual natural organic human is capable of, right? Of walking into a landscape and feeling instantly connected with the keepers and spirits of those lands, having an open conduit inside of oneself where whatever is needed just comes to you. It just comes via synchronicity, so it's a really worth our while to go out of our way to connect with people that are doing these things. And this is something that the Sasquatch, and I know this sounds really crazy out there for people who've never heard anybody talk about Sasquatch before, or have only talked about them in the context of Bigfoot, right? So Sasquatch are major forerunners. They are making huge efforts to reach out to humanity to help us remember how to be human again, help us remember how to be in community again, and where community is something that makes us stronger, that builds our bonds, versus something that we have to tolerate and cope with. Okay.